It is February the 26th, 2024, and update 18 for Elite Dangerous is currently being installed on the Frontier development servers, ready for all us commanders to get involved. Well, this update is the first update we're going to have of 2024, and it's all looking promising. To be perfectly honest, we've got the patch notes. The patch notes look absolutely fantastic, and there's lots in there. This update is 30 gigabytes in size. Oh, it's a big one, all right. And we're going to unpack all the items that they've put in the patch notes for update 18 for Elite Dangerous in this video. Let's check it out. So welcome back, Commanders, to this breakdown of the Elite Dangerous Update 18 patch notes. Well, for me, I'm hoping it's not going to be all about torpedoes. We know it's going to be very Thargoid heavy. We know there's going to be torpedoes involved, but what else? Well, they do say that a lot of the items are not going to be released in the patch notes, and commanders have to go out there and find the information themselves. And that's what playing a game's all about. But nonetheless, we do have some notes to tease us with. So let's take a look. Straight up. Well, it's all quite exciting, isn't it? It has to be said. Well, update 18, the notes are indeed out, and it's all about the Thargoid War. And there'll be commanders out there that will be very happy that it says and states, the war with the Thargoids has entered the end game. Now, there'll be some commanders absolutely jumping up and down for joy for this, because a lot of people aren't really interested in the Thargoid war. I, for one, as you know, am. Love it. Been at the Spire sites this weekend as well. They also state that this update includes an exciting update to the story and several fixes. As we've already mentioned, the update is approximately 30 gigabytes in size, but that may change depending on the platform you're playing on. So straight into the features of note. So it's all about the prototypes of the Guardian nanite torpedo pylons. Now, they do state that the research has finished following a successful community goal where you only basically had to achieve tier 1. The prototypes have been made and a production pipeline has been established. Rescue megaships now stock the Guardian nanite torpedo pylons. And Aegis has said, we and all of humanity await news from intrepid commanders able to bring this tool to bear against the Titans, and we'll certainly be having a go at that. And that's all that said. Features of note, and Frontier have always said that, well, hey, we're entering this period where we want commanders to go out there and basically find out for themselves. Even as an Elite Dangerous partner, we've had no additional information as yet as of the making of this video, and that's 10 minutes past 9 GMT. So we've got no further insight than the rest of everybody else. Moving on now into the issue tracker, and there's a few things that have been updated here. The system authority and power play agents have been supplied with calming tea and soothing music as they stay, so will now no longer have unprovoked aggressive tendencies. They will leave the anger to the pirates, as is tradition, and the issue number there of ID 62015 has been stated. Also, SRV and ship shadows will no longer disappear in VR and flat screen. In the bugs adjustments, they've got locations and environments. It is stated that there is now a system called Lumitar, which has been renamed in the memory of a lost colleague and friend, and the system that was remained is Dahadeti 1A. The on-foot free camera is now prevented from passing through ship hangar walls. Okay, because people were saying, ooh, look at my interiors, ooh, there's stuff in there, and all the rest of it. So great, now the on-foot free camera is now prevented from clipping through those environmental boundaries. AI and enemies. Now this is very interesting. First one here, SRV pilots will no longer be prevented from docking at an unlocked engineer base if the SRV had recently been piloted by a crew member who was not recognized by the engineer. Let's break that down. SRV pilots, so you're in the car, will no longer be prevented from docking at an unlocked engineer base if the SRV had recently been piloted by a crew member who was not recognized by the engineer. Okay, so if somebody who had piloted the SRV and you're in there, or been in there, and you hadn't gained access to this via word of mouth or whatever, great, you're no longer going to be prevented. That's how I read that. Let me know in the comments what you think about that one. That's a little bit, ambiguous. I didn't even know that existed, to be fair. Next up, Thargoid ships around Titans, and I bet my bottom dollar we're going to be seeing a bit of that, right? Have had their optician prescriptions adjusted and will no longer detect players at unexpected high angles. Cool, because their lines of sight were all over the place. It was very difficult to hide. We even had to go to the caves of safety. Anyway, moving on. Fixed Thargoid scouts, sometimes going idle when attempted to leave a Titan instance. Yes, and we had this, and I had that recorded on a live stream. Was able to get some good bioscans and also some Thargoid scout biosamples as well. But anyway, they fixed it. They fixed recon limpets not being able to reach their intended max speeds. Great! Now, the fact that they fixed recon limpets, is there going to be something we have to be doing with those in this update? I don't know. Let's have a think about that one. Put that one on the back burner. Okay? Players are no longer assigned murder crimes for dealing non-hostile damage to objects that are later killed. Okay. Thargoid ships have had their alcohol levels adjusted and will now consistently exit from spires without jittering or rubber banding. Now, we saw this on the weekend. There was an awful lot of bounce going on. It was quite difficult to get a decent scan on as well. Thargon swarms now dock more reliably with Hydra-class interceptors. Can't say I've seen that. All very Thargoid related there, really, with the exception of the first one. That's all about SRV and the no longer assigned murder crimes section. Moving on now to some more interesting stuff. Ships, suits and modules, which I'm sure you'll agree sounds like a really bad 80s cover band. Anyway, they say the avatar image of telepresent multi-crew members now depicts them in their flight suit rather than as generic holograms. Okay, cool. Caustic sinks will now drain existing caustic one at a time. Caustic sinks will now drain existing caustic one at a time. Okay. I thought they did, but apparently they don't. On to fleet carriers. A system in a Thargoid probing state can no longer be selected as a fleet carrier jump destination. Okay, fleet carrier commanders, be warned on that one. And with the user interface, this is a bit of a big one. The UI. Fleet Carrier Captain's avatar is now correctly depicted in jump completed and weekly upkeep messages. Good for them. Utterly useless anyway. There's only one captain, and that's me, of the Ricardos gaming, and I say what happens and where it goes. The rest of the queue, what do they do? What do they do? But this is not a video about how I would improve fleet carriers. Oh no, it isn't. They've introduced gravity well cockpit messages to replace slow down when travelling at excessive speeds near celestial bodies. Well, that's good. I quite like the idea of that. Gravity well. Okay, brilliant. The option to share a bookmark to your squadron will now only be present if you have permission to share it. The remove bookmark quick action now only removes your personal bookmark, not that of the squadrons. Excellent stuff for those of you who do play in squadrons. The displayed count of commanders present on foot conflict zones now updates correctly as commanders join the fight. Brilliant. Transferring items between backpack and ship storage is now correctly reflected in the ship's storage UI. And that's been very irritating. And it came up, I think, 2 updates ago. So that would have been update 16. I think we first noticed that. Nav beacons now display the correct activity type icons on the ship's navigation panel in systems being invaded by the Thargoids. Good. The reset to orbit button is now disabled until players have completed the tutorial and have a commander. Good for them. The fleet carrier countdown to jump timer now updates correctly when viewed from an on-foot terminal. Can't say I'd noticed, but I can see where that could be irritating. But then, once you get to 5 minutes, you get transported to the bridge anyway. So there are panels in the bridge. Fair enough. Okay, asteroid bases are now labelled as such in the points of interest section in the system map, and a route set on the galaxy map will now be correctly recalculated after reloading the game. The caustic damage removed notification now appears as a positive notification rather than a negative one, and you can see why it should be positive. Nobody likes their ship rotting from the outside in. Influence and reputation are no longer listed in mission rewards in cases where no influence or reputation are rewarded. Well, we'll take your word for that one. Leveling up an engineer whilst in the workshop UI now unlocks higher tier modifications without requiring the workshop to be closed and reopened. Brilliant. That was always a bit of a pain here. You get to the point where, right, I'm grade 5, and you look at it and it hasn't updated. Got to come out, go back in again, perhaps go back out completely and then back in again, and then there it is. So, good stuff. Scythe collection drones, oh, we hate that scythe, don't we? We hate them. Will now show up as unknown in the contacts panel until the owning scythe has been scanned. So scythe collection drones will not show up as unknown. Brilliant. Okay, fair enough. These are thin pits. By any other word, okay? They resolved outdated descriptive text on the Titan's locations. Thargoid wakes are no longer targetable at extremely large ranges. Damn it, I needed some of those wake data. And they've corrected some minor grammatical errors as well in the game. Right then, graphics. What's a game without its graphics? I do think Elite Dangerous is a particularly pretty game to look at, especially when playing in 4K, and we've had some fantastic experiences, especially recently. They fixed issues where one of the Federation branded adverts seen at stations could load an incorrect background image. Ooh, well, there you go then. All these are fixes, I suppose. We're not going to go through all of these. Ones of note, loading screen for the Eagle no shows the missing wingtip. There's one year, fixed one of the wrecked Type 9 modules, missing some geometry. An issue with the Thargoid reward ship kits where the model and texture data were taking an excessive amount of time to load. I'm not going to dwell too much on all of this. They've fixed the flipped vanity cameras on the Empire fighter, and the default VR camera for the fleet carrier management screen is now orientated correctly. I'll leave you to go through those by yourself, and the notes will be put in with the link in the description. Let's talk about the Thargoid War. Fixed an issue where the escape pods saved from star systems with Thargoid spire sites would sometimes not contribute to the war effort. Well, we don't need anything else going against us, do we? And then also improved reporting of counterattack states. So, as they state now, it's all about collecting your Guardian nanite torpedoes from your local neighbourhood rescue ship and getting out there and challenging the Titans. We're going to be out and doing that as soon as this gets released and it all goes well. Well, we're hoping it all goes well for Frontier. Thanks very much for listening to this breakdown of the Frontier patch notes. Loads, I would expect, for us to go and discover in this 30 gigabyte Elite Dangerous Update 18 update. Let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to. What do you hope is going to be in this update? I'll see you soon.